Well, once again, this is of course Scroll Center with, naturally, City of Heroes, as has been for a while now. So we're going to go ahead and check this out. So we've got some advantage points, etc. But what we really need to do right now is look at the specializations. Since we're playing a pet build, this should be a no-brainer what your first one is. Commander. It's the only one that's designed for pet builds. First off, you've got something that gives your pets huge amounts of resistance to damage against AoE attacks. Now, I should point out something of pretty good importance here, and that is that they say 25%, but that is not true. Not in the slightest. What it is you take your, it's not a percent at all. You take your resistance, and basically you take 100 over 100 plus whatever your resistance is, and you multiply the damage incoming by that. So if you have 100 over, with 100 resistance, it'd be 100 plus 100 is 200. Go away. Sorry. Then at that point, you would basically cut the damage in half. So 25 is not 100, and it would take 100 to be able to cut the damage in half. 50 would be, I think, would cut it down by a third. I think it's actually 33 is where you're going to cut it a quarter off it off. So that's actually deceptive. But still, 50% off when you get both stacks of it basically cuts it by a third of the damage, and they've already actually got some resistance, so that's actually pretty nice. Multitasker reduces the energy penalty caused by having pets out by 17%. This is a huge one for a full pet build because there is an energy penalty, and it is huge once you get up there. You can also look at these other two. You can decrease the summon time of your pet powers if you want to get them out faster, especially if they're dying a lot, and creating openings. Whenever you critical strike, your pets get a critical strike chance, which is pretty good, except that unless you're playing a crit heavy build, that's not actually going to come out much. And it's just for 5 seconds, increases by 10%. I think it jumps up to 20%, so that's still pretty good. Savage, going up to the new level. Savage increases their, so your secondary stats increase pest damage. With relief, your secondary stats will increase pet healing, and if you go for durable, your secondary stats increase health and healing received. Notice there's 3 levels of each, only 2 levels of this. They kind of expect you to take well trained. The recharge time of all your pet's abilities is reduced by 10%. I believe that's not just active abilities, I believe that includes theirs, but if just kind of, for their own abilities, they can use it more often. Even so, there's only so much you can do, but it is a pretty good one as a whole. Durable will keep them alive longer to actually do something. Damage will give them, Savage will give them enough damage to actually mean something. Relief, there's not enough healing pets for that to really matter, but if you really want to, it is an option. That said, I'm going to actually start with Multitasker because it is extremely beneficial. Again, notice there's 3 levels and these all have 2, so you're kind of expected to take 1 of these and then 3 levels of this. And yeah, I believe this will cap out at a 50% less of a penalty, allowing us to not have quite as much of a problem with our loss of energy from pets and whatnot. That being said, let's go ahead and make sure we keep that colors right. Let's go ahead and continue to train. We can get new power. Excellent. Well, now that we've got that, I guess the next thing is we're at a point where we could start grabbing a lot more pets. Support drones are healer pets. We've already got a heal, so that may not be the best option. Attack toys are kind of amusing. Over time, you get more and more of them, where basically, as you rank it up, you'll get a bunch of duplicates. They get their own little equipment, like grenades and rocket launchers, as well as just going out punching and kicking. And so they're actually particularly good for long-term battles. Moving on, though, there are a number of controllable pets out there. Now, keep in mind, summons are not the same thing. They go away pretty quickly. But they do get bonuses from pet things, they're temporary. Air Elemental is actually pretty good in its own right. Effectively, it will, it starts off with just some basic attacks, but it puts out a fair amount of area of effect once you get it in there. I think it is this one, or no, actually it's the Arctic Beast. Alright, so this one basically does a little bit of damage straight, and then it does a Thunder Strike, which is actually more powerful. I believe it does have some area of effect. And it also has a chance to disorient, which is not much, but knockdown with Thunder Strike is actually not bad. Arctic Beast, on the other hand, as it gets stronger, it starts off with just some basic attacks. It can spit ice, charge an enemy, bite him, but then it also gets a little bit of Frost Breath, which is nice, and then when it gets to summon Arctic Winds, it deals damage and snares all enemies in the area. So that's actually a much more effective one for just overall area of effect, etc. You're not going to see anything from martial arts. Mentalist, I believe, has summons, but no actual pets. Um, so only summons in their case. Nothing from strength area, the brick sets. Tons once you get into the magic, though. Alright, so magic, supernatural, whatever they're going to call this category. So we've got the summons, of course. March of the Dead is devastating in its own right. Very useful in getting your zombies out there to do lots of damage, but it is a temporary one, and it does also have a penalty just like the rest of them do. So if we're going to go for that, we might consider something else. Command animals, these guys can be, you can give a little click power that sends them into rage, they do more damage, etc. And, of course, there's more. There's the various rituals, which you can spend 3 points, 3 instead of 2 for a rank up. You can spend 3 of your little, whatever you heck you call them, I'm spacing it, ranks and advantages. 3 of those points to be able to get them permanently, and so you don't have to have, you can have more than one. Otherwise, you can only have one ritual summon at a time. Tyrannon's Familiar is good for tanking, but that's about the extent of it. Power Siphon I've never found to be particularly useful. Void Horror is actually pretty useful for anyone who uses Fear, which we are going to be using. And so that's actually where it starts to get better. Void Eruption never get to use much of, but what happens is that you've got Feed on Fear, which basically causes it to actually be able to do additional damage and heal itself as well to anyone who's affected by fear, making it pretty useful in its own right. And mixes well with Dark Energy as a whole, hence why it goes with Dark Energy. In fact, Summon Shadows is also from Dark Energy, and you can get an advantage that, as you see right here, it does a life drain effect where 20% of the damage they deal goes to you, which is pretty nice. And so there's a number of different options. I think at this point there's a lot of choices and it's kind of hard to choose one. I mean, really, there's some really nice options here. But just kind of wanted to run over that with you, what kind of things we're looking at, what kind of options we have. We do have things like the Fire Snakes runs around and burns enemies for a bit, and you've got Pyromancer's Blade, etc. I think I'm leaning towards the Arctic Beast at this point because of the Area of Effect component to it, and that we are lacking an Area of Effect right now. So why don't we go ahead and grab the Arctic Beast. So, with a pet-heavy build, you're going to have a lot of pets eventually. Let's go ahead and color it appropriately. Now, we've got a default. We've got a wolf, bear, pup, lizard, or Frosthound. The Frosthound is closer to the demon guys that you fight. And, of course, they got different options there. Frost Lizard's kind of a funny one. May not be what you expected. A Velociraptor. Yep. Thought of him cold-blooded. Alright, that was probably a bad one, but still. So, ranks and advantages. We've only got 1 point. It's not really enough to do anything. Let's go ahead, actually. Let's go for our customization real quick. I'm going to give you an idea as to what these different options actually look like. Sort of. Alright, so there's the wolf. If we go to the default form, if we go to our bear, not particularly fond of the bear myself usually. See, there's the Arctic bear. Let's go for the pup. So throw that out there for the heck of it. Basically the same as the wolf except for smaller. You saw the lizard and then we got the hound. And there you go. See, that one looks more, creepy, demonic looking rather than your standard one. For the heck of it, let's go for a frost lizard. I find it amusing more than anything else. Velociraptors. Pet velociraptors. Gotta love it. Alright. Now I can use a special form here. With this guy. Freezing form. Deals additional cold damage, and etc. Chills targets that attacks you. Alright. So cold damage strength goes up for 15 seconds. And basically deals some extra damage to them as well as there's extra resistance to cold damage specifically. So you can use that every now and then. I think that might be the one that Well Trained actually affects. I'm not certain though. It's kind of hard get information. Now, here we're actually supposed to be looking for a book. It's on one of these benches, and I think we just found it. Nope, different one. That was actually just the effect of the wood. The little spots you see on them. I don't remember what they're called. But yeah, you just look around, try to find which one has it. Nothing spectacular. This is a decent place if you need to get more of those psionic devices. So go ahead and get that. Here's Brianna's diary. Okay. And Hungry Like the Wolf is a little mission you can find here. Looks like some sort of strange, dangerous creature is running rampant in McDonald Park and terrorizing innocent villains. See if you can get this beast under control. George McDonald Park is in the east side of city center, across the street from Argent headquarters. Alright, so yeah, here it is. A bear that's walking upright. Of course, anyone who's played very long into the game probably knows what that is. And that's no bear, but still. And just block that. He's just villain class, he's by himself. He is a few levels higher than what you would normally be for this, but that's it. He's not really that tough. In fact, most of these guys you would fight would be at level 30 plus, I believe. So it'll be a while before you meet the rest of them. Alright, so that's another one down. So I think... yeah, at this point it's probably best to just run and grab the missions we do have. So I guess we'll just run ahead. I believe you have to go in the back for some reason, but... Medusa's office right here. So let's go kick Medusa's butt. Yeah, you see that lady there? She's actually the one that does that move I told you about, where she blows you a kiss and all of a sudden you're not allowed to attack her. And it's just like, really? I mean, I suppose if it was a bad comedy, I'd understand, but... nah. Yeah, well. Not that important. But, continuing on, though. Go ahead and continue to blast these guys. Should probably use that ice form whenever I get the opportunity. Just to try to get the best benefits I can out of that. Let's see. Actually, I'm not exactly sure what part of the building I'm supposed to go to. I don't think this is it, though. Let me pull out. I think I have to go to the end of the hall. And then turn either right or go straight. I can't remember. No point in doing extra, extra areas is kind of what I'm thinking about. Anyways. Looks like we got some incoming. Thing is, I don't really see a timer showing up for the abilities for, like, the frost lizards, so how would I know? So I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Well, whatever. Let's see. Ah, maybe it's over here. This looks like it might be right. Okay. It did not cost me any endurance to use the power for the frost lizard, so I guess that's not it. Anyways, as you get more and more pets, they start becoming more and more deadly. Yeah, here's Medusa. She's bald, but instead of hair, she's got psionic energy. Now, they're supposed to just be making it look like she's got psionic hair that's floating around. It doesn't seem to have come across that way too well. Oh well, what can you do? Eh. Alright. So until you get rid of these psionic doppelgangers, she's got that nasty shield up and it'll be pretty hard to break through. Alright, that's interesting. Bot's got torn to ribbons there.
beg for mercy. Finish Blackwood. It's your only chance.
Okay, keep my healing going. So now our shield's down again. Boom. Alright, another one bites the dust. Okay. Looks like I have to go back out the entrance. Not that big a deal, of course. I mean, it's kind of a short area. Which I'm not going to complain about. Believe me, we'll get longer ones soon enough. Alright. So that's another one down. Should be good to go there. And that being said, let's see, I'm trying to look at this. To talk to Antoine Harrison again. And it looks like that's pretty much it for the moment, and then we'll just call this video. Looks like the open mission's up again. Oh, it also switched to zones on us. That's probably part of it. Still. I gotta remember to keep an eye out for any messages popping up here. It's easy enough to miss them as you're flying over. They're only there briefly. Doesn't look like there's anything here, though. Alright, so heading back over. Gotta get this done. Here we go. Wow, the last thing I remember is talking to City Minister Madeline Bell, and then all of a sudden I had no control over my actions. Medusa was mind-controlling me in order to get you to knock Psy's greatest enemies, Kevin Poe and the New Purple Gang, out of the picture. Then, after you had served your purpose and outlived your usefulness, you used me to lay traps for you, like when I sent you to help the lookalike Martha Reese, and she led you into an ambush, despite the fact that he never actually sent you to do that. Just thinking about all this is giving me a migraine. Thanks for getting that psionic psychopath out of my head, Zoragos. You're the best. See, the headache hasn't gone away yet, though. Let's see. I'll have to open up something else to stick it in there. And that was a Psystorm crystal. Alright. Just more random junk. Actually, I have another one of these now. So, had some overflow as well from the looks of it. Yeah, alright. Sort things a little bit. Not that it matters that much. Oh, right, you are going to need the holographic disruption glasses at some point, though I will get to those later now that I think about it. Triumphant Recovery, I'll move it over. Boost Enhancer makes this little boost you pick up. Lasts twice as long. But it's there. Alright, I think that covers it for now. Oh, Brianna Diary. That's interesting. Here we go. Popping the clasp on Brianna's private diary, you thumb to the very last entry. I really don't know what Era's problem is. He's so stubborn, I swear. Janine was so right. I should have listened to her when she said the Viper was nothing more than a group of criminals. Why Eris would ever turn to something so evil, I'll never know. I really do miss him, and it hurts so much, but I can never be with someone that would cause people harm. The last letter he wrote me said his outfit was being moved to the southwest side of the city center to help out with some strange psionic thing called Project Snowjob. Whatever that means. As long as Eris, whatever that is, Iliopoulos, I have no idea, is working for Viper, I'll never let him into my life again. Brianna, don't forget to schedule lunch with Janine for next Tuesday. Okay, so basically you're supposed to go check out the Viper guy. Of course, since they already spoiled that, who the actual culprit is, that kind of defeats the point. But, oh well. Anyways, we'll check in on that next time. Hope you are having fun, though, and I will see you then.